Hello there. This is another video on the mining and prospecting methods in Vintage Story. I already have one video on this, but I figured a live demonstration might be more helpful to people. So I'm not going to try and waste your time. I've just dropped myself into a world and given myself a pickaxe, a prospecting pick, a shovel, and a hammer. You will need all three of these, the pick, the prospecting pick, and the hammer, to actually make use of anything that you find. The pickaxe obviously for breaking stuff. Sorry, I'm actually in creative mode still. Pickaxe for breaking stuff, prospecting pick for finding ores, and the hammer for breaking up the chunks that you find. Anyways, let's get right into it. This is the prospecting pick. It can break regular rock, but you don't get anything from it. It's not really useful for that. What it is good for is taking samples of the chunk. So you can see here in the chat it says, I need 2 more samples. What you do is you break a piece of rock, and then you move a couple blocks away. I think it's a maximum of 14. I usually only move, 5 or 6, whatever. And you take another reading. It says it needs, 1 more sample, so let's go over here. And what we're doing is we're creating kind of a little triangular section of the earth to take a reading from. Break that. And you can see here it says very poor lignite, very poor native copper, very poor sphalerite. And then there's some percentages next to it. So what does this reading mean? The very poor indicates, sorry, I'll bring that back up. The very poor indicates what the chances are that this ore has spawned here when the world generated. The percentage would indicate how much of all of the blocks all the way up from the sky down to the bedrock would actually be that ore. So you want to take in consideration that the first adjective, very poor, or good, or excellent, or very high, is more important than the percentage, because if there was an extremely high chance that 3% of this was copper, which is the first metal that you're going to be looking for, well, that would be, excellent. That would be fine. It would be a good amount, because there's quite a few blocks. Similarly, if you're looking for cassiterite, which is tin, 0.1 or 0.2% might seem terrible, but that's actually quite a lot, because you don't really need very much tin. Bronze is like 90% copper and 10% tin. You only need a tiny bit of tin. So anyways, in order to actually... Okay, so we took a reading, and it's like, well, that's no good. Those are terrible odds. How do we find better odds? You can run around and do whatever you want, but it's better to use a density map theory. So I've just got a map. I found this on Google. It's not the map of this world, but it doesn't matter. Let's say that this point right here that I'm going to mark in red is where we started, and we got, very poor reading of copper. So we could call this like, I don't know, just like a black level of heat of minerals. In theory, there is probably a vein of copper that is somewhere in this area, and it has little branches reaching out from it in all kinds of directions. And the closer you get to the actual big mother lode here, the hotter and hotter, the higher and higher your readings are going to be. So we lucked out on our very first reading and actually found an example of native copper, very poor native copper. So I'm just going to pick a direction from where I search, which is this general area, and let's just go north. Let's go north just a couple of blocks. We'll just run in that direction. This is probably far enough. So we'll dig here, and we'll take another reading. One reading here. Another reading here. Might go a little slower for you because you're probably just starting out with copper tools, but again, I'm not trying to waste your time. And very poor native copper. 1.9%. So heading north, we actually got a weaker reading, which means that we were probably, let's say if this is where we started, we're moving away from the big mother load, in theory. So let's try going back to where we were. And then head south from there and see if the reading gets any better. I'm going to try my very best not to die. I might panic switch to creative mode or something. I might also just give myself more daylight at some point. But anyways, that's a pitfall. Alright, let's say this is fine. So take another reading. You can crouch down to get blocks that are just out of your reach sometimes. It's also useful for spearing animals. And 3. Poor native copper, 5.7%. Again, the adjective poor is more important, but that number still matters. And so yes, moving south has increased the amount of copper we found. So if we started around, say here, we say this is like very poor copper. What was it, like 3%? You don't have to mark things off like this, but we could put down, as poor copper, 5%. If you want to try and remember where you're going. So let's just keep heading south and see if that helps. It was very important to me that I pick a world that I just generated. I have no idea about any of it, just to demonstrate that, this method works. Obviously your luck factors into these sorts of things, but, exploration is king. You just gotta... Oh, okay. We are not going to count that, but oops. Let's just ignore that. Just say we went over here. Because, I mean, come on. That's a little bit too lucky, right? No tutorial is worth its salt. Sorry, yeah. That was a little too far away, so it reset our sample. So that tutorial is no good if I'm just like, oh, look, here it is. So we take it. Poor native copper, 7.6%. So, it is worth noting that that little deposit over there means that, this stuff is around. But we're really just trying to look for something that is a good chance of you finding it, so that you're not wasting your time, you're not burning through that pick, and you're going to have to pan for, a trillion more pieces of copper, all that junk. Let's take a reading out of the mountainside. That's lucky here too. That's what is that? Oh, okay, that's just flint. I thought that was a little bit of lignite or brown coal or something. Charcoal's the best, anyways, though. But sorry. So let's take another reading here. That was not far away enough. Sorry. So one sample here. Another sample here. And fine. Okay, well, looks like the copper dropped off, although there is ultra-high cephalerite here, but right now we're on the hunt for copper. So, continuing to head south didn't help us. We actually got a lower reading. What happened? Well, that vein, it's not like a perfect grid like this that you're following. It's wavy, it's wobbly, it goes all over the place. It's random. So, obviously, we were on the trail of it, but we lost a piece of it. So, let's go back to where we were, and which would have been south of... Ah, yeah, right about here. For a second, I forgot I went south, and I thought, how the hell did I end up all the way over here? Right, so this is where we took our original reading. Let's do another reading just to be 100% sure. Do apologize if this video is too long. and you're trying to, just find, get to the damn minerals. I do have that other video, which has everything just going by at like lightning speed. Oh, okay, here we go. So decent native copper, and it looks like it's actually, you see, we're just very slightly east of where we were. So if I had to guess, I would say that maybe the vein sort of sweeps down northeast. So let's try that. Let's go from here. That reading that we got just there might actually even be enough to guarantee a good find. But we can do better. Sometimes this can become very tedious, especially when you're looking for tin. Lots of little movements, little calculations here and there. Oh, sorry, I blew it. Took a reading too far away. Oh, okay, here we go. High native copper. So we did it. That was a good, easy one. Sometimes it can take a lot longer. But yeah, we picked a spot. We found a little bit. Very poor. We moved north. It got worse. We moved south. It got better. More south, and it got worse. So we went back to where the last place where it was as good as it got, and we tried another direction. And there you go. So we got, what is it? Very, just high. Okay, so from this point, you want to start looking for it. And, a lot of people, they have like the Minecraft mentality where they're like, I'm just going to go down into these caves. In its current state, I would say caves kind of suck. There's not really a whole lot there other than, certain death. So how are we going to find the minerals? We're going to deploy what I like to call the soda cracker method. So, I'll demonstrate. I'll just open back up my little image processor here. And we're just going to get a picture of a soda cracker from Google, which I should have had prepared. Oh, perfect. Here's one. Okay. So, let's say that you're here on the map, and you found copper right here. And it's very, very high. So there's a chunk. Its size is, I think it's about like maybe 25 by 25 blocks, but I'm probably wrong about that, but it doesn't matter. Somewhere inside of this chunk, there's a very high chance of there being copper. Rather than searching randomly in little spots here and here and here and here, digging, down certain amounts, going back up, or tunneling left, right, up and down, all these sorts of places, we have to consider that if you were looking at the actual Earth, as if it was a cross section, the copper is not going to spawn as like a long, thin, narrow thing that you could miss as you drill down very easily. It's probably going to spawn as a kind of disk. Sorry, my Photoshop has a little bit of a memory leak, so it slows down sometimes. It forms as a little disk, which means that you could pick, a spot here, a spot here, a spot here, and if you drilled down, you'd probably hit it. So we're going to deploy that method by treating the Earth as if it was a soda cracker, and drilling on one point, and if we find nothing, we simply move a few blocks over, and we try again. And we move a few blocks over, and we try again. So let's demonstrate that, and I'm actually hoping not to get a good result on the first try. You need one other thing for this, which I forgot to give myself. You need a bucket of water. Oh, it's full of blue dye, not water. Water. There we go. We're just going to throw this away. In its current state, the game does not actually have any breathing, so this, I feel, provides a very good method by which you can go up and down. You can also just bring ladders. You can still use water if they do add breath, but I guess you'll just have to add little air pockets here and there. But anyways, so I'm just going to pick a spot. I'm going to mark it off like this, and I'm going to dig one hole down. And you hold shift, and you Oh, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. You hold, you hold sprint, which I think is default control. I have it bound to R, and you put it like that. You can just right-click to refill your bucket. All water blocks are infinite sources. Vintage story. Now you have a little column that goes up and down like this. Very useful. Let's also just give ourselves a source of light, like an oil lamp. You should always make the oil lamp as soon as you can. It only costs one porcelain bowl, ceramic bowl, and one fat, which you get from an animal, and it doesn't go out in the water. So, anyways, I'll set myself back off again. Actually, you know what? Just for the sake of saving everybody's time, let's actually be in creative mode, because at this point it doesn't actually matter. So what you do with the soda cracker method is you just punch down straight into the... wow, okay, guess we're kind of lucky that we picked creative mode, because you might drop into a cave like this. If that does happen, you probably want to bring lots of dirt so that you can do this. They're ignoring me because I'm in creative, so lucky me. You might want to bring dirt so you can, you know, sort of prevent them from attacking you and stuff. We're not interested in spelunking here. You can get unlucky like that and find caves. But anyways, yeah, you want to be just punching through down, 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 as deep as you can go. And see if you hit any copper. So I'm just clicking as fast as I can. We're going faster than the water at this point. Oh, and there we go. So we actually did hit the copper. And so this was a lucky turn of events, but let's actually just open up the tools and pick the eraser, and we're gonna say replace selected block. So what this is gonna do is whatever we click on, it's just going to replace it with air. And this will give us a look at what we're actually... I'm just going to do this real quick. The vein that we found. You know what? Let's actually set the size to like 40. Be really honking big, you know. Oops. I deleted some of the copper. There we go. Get some air in here. All right. So as you can see, you know, when you're actually prospecting, it can feel like, you know, oh my God, there's just freaking no ore anywhere. This is so difficult. This is so shitty. But the truth is that if you find a good spot, it's everywhere. And if you use the soda cracker method, and you just move a couple blocks over here or there, you're guaranteed to find quite a lot. So as an example, here's actually where we found the copper, where we dug down until we actually got it. But as you can see, we actually came really close to one. And if there wasn't a plate of copper there to hit, we would have moved, you know, 6 blocks over. We would have gone, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we would have hit another one. We might have chosen to move 6 blocks in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we would have missed this plate. But oh, you know, down here, there's another one. So there is just ore everywhere, and this method is really, really effective at finding that. I think that's pretty much everything you really want to know about mining in the game. Halite blocks, which I did find for my other video, but are a major pain to find. I really recommend that you get the expanded food mod, because it allows you to manufacture salt by distilling water. But anyways, halite, which is the only source of salt in the game, can be really hard to find because it doesn't spawn in these plates, these discs. It spawns as a big pillar. Another thing to watch out for when, you know, I'm just going to pull up the eraser again so that we can... sorry, that's the flood fill. we can get a better look at it is quartz shelves. Now, quartz is used for making glass, so it is a useful thing to find, but it's enormous. And unfortunately, if you had a copper pickaxe, just give myself a... Oops. If you had a copper pickaxe, you'd find that you were unable to break it because it requires bronze. So sometimes, you know, you might be like, this is a great area, and you drill down and you hit this quartz shelf and there's just no way to break through it other than going all the way to the edge of it, which you won't know where that is, and continuing on. I really recommend that unless you find like an incredible spot that just has ultra high everything, if you find a quartz shelf and you don't have bronze, consider just running 20 blocks away and trying again. But yeah, so that is basically the easiest, simplest means of finding any mineral in the game. You can find hematite, sphalerite, cassiterite, tin, ores, copper, all of that using this method. So hopefully that was helpful. Actually, I'm just realizing now that I didn't talk about the prospecting pick, so let's get into that. Or rather, I should say that I didn't explain all of the prospecting pick. I'm just going to set the time back to the day. The prospecting pick has two modes. The default mode is the density search mode. Just going to eat some food here. And if you press F, it brings that up. So density search mode is the mode we were using, where it shows how much is likely to spawn, what's the odds of it spawning, all that. But there's also the node search mode, and some people swear by this. It's really useful if you just can't track down the ore you're looking for, but I'll demonstrate how it works. Let's pick a spot that let's pick a spot we don't know anything about. How about right here? So let's say you're doing your thing, you're doing your soda cracker method, and you think to yourself, like, this is taking too long, or I know that there's copper around here, I just gotta find it. What can you do? You switch to the node search mode, which will actually tell you if there's any real ore and what type it is within the radius that you set. That was set by the command for the node search mode radius, the worldConfig that I showed at the beginning of the video, which you can find on the wiki. So you break a block, you only break one. It says no ore node nearby. So we go down more, we break. Let's go maybe 10. Alright, bismuthite, or bismuthinite, verified trace amounts. So where we just were right now, it's verified that there is a little bit of bismuth nearby. Let's go hunting for it. Just get out of that water there. So if we remember that the first block we broke had a trace amount, we can apply the same principle that we used to find the large copper ore using the density search mode. So we'll head a little bit east, take a reading, verified trace amounts. So we'll keep going. Alright, let's take another reading. No ore node nearby, which means that as we progressed from here to here, we passed by where it was within, what did I say, to 4 blocks, I think. So let's take a chunk out of the floor here. Verified small amounts. Okay, so it actually got higher when we went down. You can actually just do the whole thing with the prospecting pick, but you'll probably wear it out, so you might want to alternate between that and the real pick. Verified small amounts, so let's just keep going. Taking a little bit of a risk digging straight down. I might just drop into a cave, so take that into consideration. Small amounts. Just gonna keep going south. Down. No ore nearby. No ore node nearby. Say that 3 times fast. So we passed it again. Let's go back to where we took our original reading. Verified trace amounts. Okay, so yeah, we were moving away from it. So if there was small amounts here and trace amounts here, I would say that maybe actually right around here probably is the middle of that reading. So let's just keep moving in this direction. Trace amounts, so that's no good. So people like to use the node search mode because it's a guaranteed find. I mean, it's absolutely undeniable that I will find bismuth now. Now that I got even a single reading from it, just if you keep persisting, you're gonna find it. But I really prefer to just use the density search and just go by, you know, statistical chances and odds. Because if you're searching for, you know, an extremely large patch of it, I think it's more useful to just take your luck, try your best. Because this method can take a while, you know, I mean, I'm sure you're all riveted just watching me try to find this crap. Verified trace amounts of lignite. Okay, we accidentally bumbled into some coal there, but that's not what we're looking for. Oops, I'm using the slower pick. Verified small amounts. We're on its trail. Slippery. Ah, here we go. We found it. Bismuth ore. So, yeah, well, geez, the bismuth texture is not very distinctive. I almost didn't even notice. So there you go. We found it, and you can see. Let's actually just use the eraser function again so we can get a good look at it. Obviously, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that all the damn time. Because if you wanted to cheat, you could just spawn anything you want. So there you go. There's the little bit that we were actually chasing down. There's the lignite that we detected earlier as well. Looks like there's some zinc there. But yeah, you can see that the prospecting pick node search can really help you find stuff for sure, but it's not always you know, a great, huge, bountiful find. But it is useful if you know you've been searching for, you know, like well, let's say I need zinc for something, and it's just like, oh, I need it so bad, and you were breaking up pieces here and there, and there was another piece nearby. It would help you know, like, whether or not you actually got all of it. But anyways, yeah, okay, with that out of the way, that's pretty much 100% everything I know about prospecting for minerals. This method does work for literally everything in the game that I know of. Some minerals are just really hard to find. I'll say it now. I have literally never found gold ore in the game ever. But this method should work for that as well. Alright, so that's it, and I will see you later.